spiritual possession, exorcisms, and the mysterious jinn in the United Kingdom. Throughout cultures and across religions, there have always been tales of supernatural entities lurking in the realms beyond our understanding. Such entities take many forms and are as varied as the traditions that believe in them. One prominent such supernatural creature of the Muslim world is the jinn, also sometimes spelled D-jinn, D-J-I-N-N, or simply genie in English. There are numerous references to jinn in the Quran and Hadith, where they are described as being one of the three known creations of God, the others being man and angels, and whereas mankind was fashioned from clay, jinn were spawned from the smokeless flame of a fire. Traditions of these entities range across the Muslim world, where they are believed to inhabit caves, deserted places, graveyards, and darkness, and to seduce mankind to stray from God through the use of numerous supernatural powers, such as shape-shifting and the ability to move or teleport objects with the mind and full spiritual possession, and they are believed to be capable of causing considerable physical and mental harm to human beings. The jinn are greatly feared by those who believe in their existence across Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Middle East, or North Africa, yet even beyond these lands, stories of the jinn and their evil ways have pervaded various far-flung countries, and one of these is England. As Muslims have immigrated to new homes around the world, they've brought with them their stories and traditions, and belief in witchcraft, sorcery, magic, ghosts, demons, and of course the jinn is widespread and pervasive among the global Muslim communities, including the United Kingdom. Muslims form Britain's largest ethnic minority group, nearly 3% of the UK population, and although the use of magic and witchcraft are forbidden in Islam, they have brought the pervasive belief in such things with them. Indeed, within the Muslim community, all sorts of physical and psychological disorders or both are often blamed on magic, witchcraft, and evil spirits. One area that has widespread belief among these communities is jinn possession, which is in many ways similar to belief in demonic possession among the Catholic Church, and that it often involves a person having seizures, speaking in an incomprehensible language, acting against their will, and performing great feats of strength, although it can also involve merely a change in demeanor or personality and mental states such as depression or anxiety. Such cases have been reported in Britain by Muslim residents, and also similar to Catholic demonic possession is that there are those exorcists and faith healers who would do battle with the supernatural forces. Traditionally, those who are allegedly possessed by jinn must see a faith healer called a raqi in order to expel the entity in a sort of exorcism called the al-azm or raqiya. Traditions on what this entails may vary from country to country, but common Muslim methods of getting rid of jinn include remembrance of God and recitation of the Quran, blowing into the person's mouth, cursing and commanding the jinn to leave, and seeking refuge with Allah by calling upon Him. In some cases, extreme cases, the possessed is even beaten or otherwise caused pain in the effort to get the spirit to abandon the body. In Britain, one can find such faith healers attending the Muslim community, and one of these is a man named Ahmed Ali, who among the 50 people a week who come to see him from across the UK, many are those claiming to be possessed by jinn. Ahmed explains one such case that involved a 21-year-old woman. Jinns are mentally young in age and are made from smoke, he says. They love to make you feel scared, but in my role as a raqi, I can't show any fear to the jinn. I started with reciting the azan in the ear of the woman. Then I read Surah Fatiha and then the Quls. Next I read the Ayat al-Kursi repeatedly. Usually at this stage, if there is a jinn, it will show itself. This girl was resting her hands on her knees. Her fingers started moving randomly. I spoke to the jinn in Urdu. The jinn spoke back to me. I asked the jinn if it was a Muslim. The jinn said it was a kafir. The family of the woman were shocked to hear this. I kept talking to the jinn, giving it dawah. I explained politely that you can't do this to a Muslim girl. After a few hours of talking to the jinn, I asked if it would become a Muslim. I told the jinn that Allah would forgive it for what it had done to this girl if it became a Muslim, and the jinn agreed and took the shahada. Then it left the girl. You know, the jinn leaves when the person starts coughing violently. This means it is in the chest and throat and is starting to leave. Then the person is coughing so aggressively, almost to the point of throwing up, and that is when you know it has left, he said. According to Ahmed, although this was a rather simple case of such an exorcism, others can be more complicated, involving very stubborn jinn that can take up to several weeks to eject. He also claims that the jinn see him as a threat and will actively attack him at night, and he has this to say: you can get harmed sometimes when you do the ruga, so you have to be careful. The jinn try to intimidate me because of the work that I do. At night time in my bed still suddenly started vibrating, or the blanket will be violently pulled off me. Things will fall down randomly in my home. I can feel them trying to enter my legs sometimes. I don't get scared. I just start reciting the Quran, he says. Now, such jinn possessions can be dangerous in other ways as well. In some cases, the families of those afflicted or others within the Muslim community are often scared by the afflicted and can sometimes direct hostility towards the victim that can lead to bodily injury. One such case is a 21-year-old Naila Muntaz of Birmingham, England. Naila's in-laws, Zia ul Haq and Salma Aslam, along with her husband Mohammed Mumtaz and her brother-in-law Hamad Hassan, thought she was possessed by evil spirits and went to extreme lengths to drive the jinn away and ended up causing her harm. Now, he says here also, the thinking behind her in-laws was that they would have the body released, take it back home to Pakistan and say jinn did it, and there's no reason to explain anything further than that. People are very suspicious to behave in that sort of way. The jinn concept is used to keep society in its place. If somebody is not behaving correctly, maybe somebody's behavior is even very extreme. It could be due to some mental illness or physical disability or something like that. People would turn around and say it's the jinn. Jinn has done this to her or to him. Indeed, there have been many cases of domestic problems blamed on jinn. Jinn possession, there are likely nothing more than blame for this villainous, very human behavior on supernatural forces. Medical professionals in the UK are also concerned that many might eschew proper professional help for mental illness and seek religious interventions to cure mental illness instead of seeking medical help. And there are many fake healers who prey on this and charge exorbitant amounts of money to carry out bogus exorcisms that do nothing at best and exacerbate the problem and lead to violence at worst. And even the exorcists, the Raki, themselves feel that many cases of supposed jinn possession are actually mental health issues that do not involve supernatural forces, and Ahmed has said this of it. He says, I watched my own father suffer for years. It took years of traveling all over the world before we found help. So many people lied to us and charged extortionate amounts of money for treatment which never worked. Eventually we found out that he was mentally ill. From all the people that have come to us, I would say 80% think jinn is in them when it isn't. It's all in their head. They want to think it's a jinn or black magic or a result of a taweez, that's an amulet or locket with magical powers. They actually get upset when you tell them that there's nothing there. Ultimately, these things are used as a scapegoat to justify something bad that has happened in their life. They want to blame it on a jinn that has been sent by a vindictive or jealous relative like an aunt or an uncle. Pious charlatans are the ones who prey on people and make them believe that a family member wants to harm them, even when they know there is no jinn inside someone. The dodgy rakis, the crooks, will still make the person, especially the vulnerable person, believe there's a jinn inside them. Yasmin Ishak, teacher from Rotherham, who is also a healer, similarly has spoken out against people within the Muslim population blaming the jinn for everything or exploiting their superstitions for their own personal gain. And she says this: if somebody was saying that I was being abused or I'm living in horrific conditions, they would automatically silence him by saying she's possessed. I'm talking from personal experience, family members, neighbors, community members, where women were not treated well on the premise that they were possessed, when reality it was just violence against women. And here today in 2012, she writes, we have men claiming in national newspapers that they can fix all your problems, that they can basically sort out every kind of problem for a price. There have been cases of these fake Raki being present while someone is doing exorcism, going array, the exorcism gone array, or of extorting huge amounts of money, or even carrying out something that is criminal, and they rarely face any repercussions. The problem is made even worse because these healers, quote unquote, are often highly trusted members of communities, so tracked down and prosecuting them can be a headache for the authorities. They do operate in the shadows. They are protected by others within their communities or within their faiths or within their places of worship. They may leave the country, so it can be very difficult to track down the healers. That said, the police are getting a lot more intelligence from within the community in the hope that we can identify these people before serious harm occurs. So despite the charlatans and the fakers populating communities in the United Kingdom, there are still many who believe that these are real forces plaguing us and that there is a need for the Raki, these healers. There are still people who seek them out to expel the insidious presence of the jinn, which seem to have followed them across the globe to still work their mischief. We're left to wonder if there is anything to this at all. Are there really paranormal forces at work here, the origin of centuries of lore and myth, or is this just superstitions and legend? Whatever the case may be, it would seem that the stories of the jinn go far and wide. There will always be those who believe it, and no matter where one goes, there will always be someone willing to fight off these entities. This is from Mysterious Universe. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.